Let's look at Thursday. There were 5 games on. We're going to go through all of that, cover the news, cover whatever we need to look at. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and what's up, brother? I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, so what are you doing? If you're only single banging, well, you're only banging halfway there. We're a double banging family here, so go and do it. Listen to the audio, watch the video, thumb it up, leave your comments, subscribe. All that stuff is very, very important and very, very useful and very, very appreciated. Let's talk about the games. On Thursday, April 4th, 5 of them on, so that's not that many, is it? Let's talk about the news that we need to talk about. You'll be shocked to know that Memphis and Detroit, we talked about this in the preview show earlier today, saying, I'm going to be pretty surprised if we get these guys playing, considering the teams that are playing against each other here, and that's true. Jaren Jackson miraculously, he's played all these games in a row miraculously, has to sit this one out. What are the odds? Unbelievably bad luck that he, Aldama, Bain, Clark, Kennard, Concha, all out on the same day. It is just, imagine getting struck down with that many injuries on one day. I can't even, I can't think of that ever happening before. Wow. Memphis, a real hard luck story. Cade Cunningham is also out on the Detroit side. At least we didn't wait until this game tipped off to tell us that one. So he's out again with knee management. And honestly, you got to be real worried about him playing again this season. Fontecchio's not going to play. That's not official, but he's done. He's not coming back. I would say the Grizzlies guys like Kennard and Clark will play tomorrow. Jaren probably, not tomorrow, sorry, on Saturday. Jaren probably plays on Saturday. Aldama, your guess is as good as mine. I've got no idea. My calculations suggest that Trey Jemison and Jordan Goodwin have 5 games available on their contracts. That means out of the 6 games, they have to sit one. Now, my calculations, because the NBA tells us nothing about this, that could be off by a game. They might have 4 active games left. It's either 4 or 5, and it's as close as I can get it. 4 or 5 games left on their contracts, so they might have to sit 1 or 2. Jemison and Goodwin, that is. So just be aware of that when you're paying attention to streaming those guys in. But a lot of opportunities on Friday. Unfortunately, there's 12 games on. What else is happening? Well, the Utah Jazz, on the exact same day that the Pistons lost their best player, the Grizzlies had everyone out. You wouldn't read about it, but the Jazz also have no John Collins, no Jordan Clarkson, no Larry Markkinen, and no Walker Kessler. Amazing to me that Colin Sexton's there now. Knock on wood. Don't be shocked for a late withdrawal there for him as well. So there's a lot of opportunity for the big fella, Omer Yurtseven, to be the probable starting center, or maybe it's Michael Potter. I don't think it is going to be Potter. I think it will be Yurtseven. And we know what's going on with Collins out and Markkinen out and Clarkson. That's been the case for a while now. But all those guys are out. And then we did get updates on Julius Randle, the double royal, and the Jedi Anunoby. Randle is out for the season, as the lying legend New York Knicks were unstuck, came uncovered again because they lie continually. They said that there was no setback with Julius Randle. They said he wasn't taking any contact practice. And then Randle said today, 5 weeks ago, I actually did a contact practice and suffered a setback. All right, cool. Sick. Really good, yeah? Really, really nice stuff. Really awesome that you say that out loud. Thanks, Julius. And hopefully your franchise gets in trouble, but they won't, because who cares? The NBA doesn't. OG Anunoby, look, I don't know. The report now was from Chris Haynes that the Knicks think he'll be back for the playoffs, but they're fine if he doesn't play in the regular season. So we assume that he's not playing in the regular season. No Anunoby, I will guess, for the rest of this week and next week. But yeah, they also lied about that one. Because, he came back from the elbow surgery. Well, initially when he had the elbow issue, he's fine, there's nothing wrong. Then he had to have surgery on it, so that's how bad that was. Then he came back. It's just the usual recovery, and now he hasn't played in 3 weeks, and he's not going to play again. And they changed it from rest injury management to elbow tendinopathy. So they are very, very comfortably moving on to the list of dreadful injury reporting teams, and they're not even tanking. That almost makes it worse. Them, the Sixers, and the Heat are 3 teams who are going to be in the playoffs that lie continually on their injury reports. Lie. So yeah, cool. Good stuff. So they are the updates on the nonsense that is the week 23. Well, for the Knicks, it's not week 23. It's been all season. So yeah, they deserve scorn and they are receiving it. As for who's the ad, well, we know who the ad is because the Knicks haven't had these guys playing. We already know all of that stuff there. So that is that. Let's talk waiver wire. Who has been added and who has been dropped across the fantasy basketball waiver wire landscape over the last 24 hours? The most added player is Stormin' Norman Powell. He did not start today. It was PJ Tucker. What's PJ Tucker's name? I know it's not like Paul Jr. You know what? I'm pausing this because I need to find out because I know it's not anything like PJ. Like it's not a Paul Jr., Peter Jr., Persephone Jr., something like that. I'm going to find out. Shout out to you if you knew this, but the actual answer is Anthony Leon Tucker. Tony Tucker. Tone Tucker. The PJ stands for Pops Jr. Of course it does. Of course it does. So anyway, Anthony Tucker started, not Norman Powell. Hayward Highsmith, one of the biggest rises. They got a back-to-back, so that makes sense. He's been playing really well, also getting pretty strong minutes. Brandon Pajewski up 12%. I'm going to guess that's back-to-back related because it's not like his production necessitates that. Russ Westbrook up 10%. Solid enough. The game's on today. No Kawhi. Go for it. Kyle Lowry up 8%. Yep, you're adding him today. He won't play both games of the back-to-back across the weekend. Almost no chance he does that, so expect him to sit one of those. I believe their back-to-back is against the Spurs and against the Grizzlies, so he'll sit one, Embiid will sit one, and Batum will sit one. Really confident that's going to happen. And then PJ Washington. Again, these are just ads to stream in for the games on Thursday with a lot of those, the Dallas, the Clippers, the Warriors, the Heat, not so the Sixers, but all those other ones having back-to-backs. But I think all of those teams have got 3 games in 4-night schedules coming up. The most dropped players. Number 1 there is Vasilije Micic. He is back into the Hornets lineup for tomorrow, so if he was dropped, you can go and add him. Trenton Watford, yep, we thought we were onto something there with him, and it didn't work out. Sometimes these things happen. I'm surprised I didn't see a lot of people going to add Noah Clowney after his last game, because, there's going to be risk involved in that too. Denny Avdia down 7%. Avdia has not been ruled out for tomorrow. Kyle Kuzma has been ruled out. What we don't know is whether Avdia is going to play or whether Holmes is going to play. I think Avdia probably doesn't play, considering the matchup. I think they're against Portland. So, yeah, that's not going to be great there, but he's been dropped. I probably wouldn't have gone so hard on dropping Avdia there, but I get it. It's finals week. You might have to do it. Santi Aldama down 6%. Absolutely jacking both hands. Get that garbage out of here. Gaz Trent down 6%. He is questionable after missing the last 2 games for back spasms. What we do know in Toronto is that Barrett and Olynyk are returning, but Gaz Trent and Bruce Brown are both questionable. I don't think they play. Well, Nick Richards has missed 2 in a row for the Hornets. He is now listed questionable again. I really don't think that Nick Richards is going to play for them on Friday, so dropping him totally a reasonable and the correct thing to do when you're making those moves. Today's episode is brought to you by Fire TV. Fire TV is your destination for sports, live games, highlights, so many different things that you can get with Fire TV, and it's available on smart TVs. But you can also get the Fire TV stick, which you can plug into an existing TV as well, that provides access to millions of movies, millions of TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. So when you're here to watch Major League Baseball season starting off, you're watching the college basketball tournament, you're going to want to get yourself a Fire TV. Fire TV has also recently created something called Fire TV Channels. It delivers a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. And that includes us at Locked On. We've got all of our shows through the Fire TV channels. You can just watch them going across there. Plus, most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels lets you dive into all of the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date in all of the latest from the world of sports. March Madness, NBA, Major League Baseball, the NHL, all of that stuff. Not to mention news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. So check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Go check it out at amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. Yeah, we're on it. Go check it. Okay. Let's take a look at games. 5 of them on, like we've said. So the first one we're going to look at is the Philadelphia 76ers and the Miami Heat. There was changes to the lineup here because Tyrese Maxey returned for Philadelphia, moving Cameron Payne to the bench. And Toby Harris was out with a knee injury. He's probably going to miss their game on Saturday as well. And Nico Batum moved into the starting lineup. So what I would guess there is Batum will start on Saturday and then sit on Sunday. That would make a lot of sense. The Sixers get the win. Big win for them, 109-105 with the first game with Embiid and Maxey all playing together. All right, Maxey, 37, 9, and 11, 41 minutes, steal, block, 58%, an amazingly good game. Embiid played 33 minutes. They don't care. Honestly, like, how is he back from a meniscus surgery and just playing 33 minutes straight away? That's pretty crazy. 29, 4, and 3 with 3 triples for Embiid. Very inefficient, took a lot of shots, but very good nonetheless. I would say you can drop Paul Reed, but I'm also not sure. Because, yes, Reed played 15 minutes. He had 2 steals and 2 blocks. He's going to get, I would say, a bigger workload in one of the games over the weekend. And honestly, someone giving you 2 steals and 2 blocks is bloody useful. Now, I guess if you hear that Embiid is playing on Saturday, then it's very hard to justify holding Reed through that game as a backup. But there's nobody playing on Saturday. Like, it's so few teams that getting someone who's got that level of defensive potential might actually be useful for you. Now, you have to check who else was going to be available. Now, if Embiid does sit on Saturday so Reed gets a big opportunity, you don't need to hold him for Sunday. We know that. But like, there's a real chance of some decent minutes here for Reed, or at least decent production. Lowry played 34 minutes in a revenge game. He had 8, 6, and 5. We're not really super interested in him long term. While Buddy Hield, what is going on with Buddy Hield? Yeah, I know I make a lot of calls on every player. Right? Opinions, you know my opinions. They're out there for everybody to hear on every player at all points. I'm constantly looking, reassessing, thinking about my opinions, right? I don't like to stick on something for a long time, but also don't like to move off it immediately. I get a lot of things wrong, get a lot of things right. But with Hield, I actually got this one right at the trade deadline. Oh, this is actually a way worse situation for him, I think, coming to Philly. And that was without me thinking that he was just going to turn into like true garbage. He missed all 6 of his shots. Is this a contract year, is it? Contract year, Buddy Hield. Remember, contract years are fake. I mean, they're real because contracts end. But this myth that I'm drafting players in contract years because of their increased fantasy production is garbage. It's not real. Hield had 2 points on 0% shooting. What else happened to this one? Well, my man Kelly Oubre. I thought that, at some point he would drop off, but what is going on with this man? Best stretch of his career by a long stretch, 18 and 8, 2 threes, 2 steals and a block. Restrained, only 14 shots. Efficient, 57%. I've never met this man in my life. That's great. We keep rolling until at some point it falls off, which maybe it doesn't. It probably does for the Heat. Speaking of what has gotten into this bloke, what's gotten into this bloke? Hayward Highsmith. 12 points, 9 rebounds, 2 threes, 4 steals, a block, 71%. He's top 100 over the last 2 weeks, like literally out of nowhere. 3 weeks ago, he wasn't in the rotation. Now he's doing this. He's getting steals. He's hitting shots. He can't miss. This is an incredible hot streak. It will die, but I don't know when, so go with it. Kevin Love back in the rotation. Just a casual Andre Drummond-esque 11 and 16 in 19 minutes. While March MVP legend Jim Butler played 40 minutes, he had 20 and 4 with 5 assists. He was inefficient, while Rozier had 22, 2 and 2. That's a lot of Richies there. 6 triples on 35%. Rozier taking 20 shots as well is a lot. Adebayo, only the 29 minutes for Bam Bam. It's not very much, is it? He was a horrendous minus 29, while Rozier was a minus 24. And we got a few more minutes out of Jaime Jaquez. Now, Jaquez played 20 minutes. He had 6 points. He did have just the 2 blocks. Well, not just. That's very good. 2 blocks and a steal, but we are not rostering him. And we had 11 and 5 from Little Chungus, who's just a deeper league guy. I don't know what's going on with Duncan Robinson. Maybe his back is just actual rooted. I don't know if he's going to play tomorrow or not, but he played 19 minutes, 30 seconds. I was going to say 19:34. That's very specific. I just said it anyway. He had 2 points. The only reason you wouldn't jack Duncan is because they play tomorrow. But surely, with 12 games on, you can find someone who's actually in better form than what Duncan Robinson is.
Get that garbage out of here.
While Caleb Martin, almost Eastern Conference Finals MVP, has been bad. Like, again, bad. 7 points, 31 minutes. It's always like, a lot of people had a lot of hope for Caleb Martin heading into this season, but, we had seen him in this role for a very long time, and he did nothing in them outside of a few really good games in the playoffs. Like, we've seen the history of it. Didn't amount to a huge amount here in this game. Let us move on to the second game of the day. The Sacramento Kings, the New York injured Knickerbockers, the lying legends themselves. The Knicks win it 120-109. We'll talk Kings. Keon Ellis, what a roller coaster this man is. Last game, got into foul trouble, played 7 first half minutes. This one, he did end up fouling out, but played 31 minutes, had 11 points, 3 threes, 4 assists, and 2 steals. And honestly, if you added him, this is literally what you wanted. This is bang on, exactly the production that you wanted to get. Can he do that every game? No, he's Keon Ellis. But like I said, I think I said this out loud in one of the shows talking about him, is that like if you expect him to be bang on averages every single game, you will be disappointed. But if you look at it in him as an investment over like a 2-week period, I think you'll probably get what you paid for. The problem when you deal with low volume categories being the thing that you rely on is that if you get 2 games in a row with 0 steals, then you go, what am I doing with this absolute bum? Then you have 16 points, 4 threes, 4 steals, and it's all the averages look normal across the week. It's a hard mindset to break out of, but it is something that is real. Trey Lyles played 29 minutes. He had 10 points on 50% shooting. Now, the production's not awesome. At very best, he's a streamer. But he played 29, while the pencil, Harrison Barnes. Now, we all know that there can be things that get a little bit sad and a little bit not as robust or strong with pencils, and that's what this song exemplifies. Barnes went scoreless in 15 minutes. They literally prioritize this man in their offseason as the guy to bring back. He has been just putrid all season. Honestly, horrid. He had like a 3-game stretch where he couldn't miss. He's just bad. He's bad. Sabonis was fine-ish, 17, 11, and 7. Fox was very good, 29, 7, and 7 with 6 dribbles, 3 steals, and a block. But overall, they just couldn't get it done. Happens. They play again tomorrow. I'm not sure whether Lyles will play. He's coming back from a knee sprain, so does he play on the back-to-back? That's a big question mark. I'm not sure. For the Knickerbockers, they play on the back-to-back as well. Tom Thibodeau doesn't care. Josh Hart, who came into this game with a wrist issue, played 43 minutes, and he went crazy. This man has been scoring nothing. He can't hit any shots, and today he comes out and has 31 points on 74% shooting, Joshy. 9 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals, a remarkable game. Jalen Brunson has also been lacking a little bit with some of his efficiency, but 35, 2 and 11, 3 steals, 60% shooting, and 9 of 10 from the line. I'm not saying it's because you're playing the Kings, but I'm also not going to rule that part of it out. What we also got was another 43 minutes of Juice McBride, 12, 4, and 3 with 3 threes, 31 minutes. You cannot leave Juice McBride on your waiver wire. That has been the case for multiple weeks, yet I still get questions. Hey, maybe I should just add Juice McBride. Yeah, you should. You should have. As soon as he was inserted into that starting lineup, that's the way we went. Actually, that's not true. The second game after he was inserted and they kept him starting over Achua against the Nuggets, that's when you knew, yeah, we are on here. And we are on. Hartenstein got back to 29 minutes, only 7 points because, as a Tibbs center, you're never allowed to shoot it. But he had 7 rebounds, 9 assists, and 2 steals. Full systems go there. While the Big Sneeze played 9 minutes, Precious Achiuwa. He did have 3 fouls in that time, but he's also bad. He had no points. He had 3 rebounds. You can, I guess, stream him when situations arise that maybe it's necessary. Maybe it's tomorrow because I don't think Mitch Robinson plays because it's a back-to-back. But man, Precious is bad, and he remains bad. Robinson had 2 and 7. He missed his only shot. We are not rostering neither of those guys, I don't think, are anywhere close to being worth holding on your roster.
Get that garbage out of here.
And in case you didn't hear the bit I said, it was Achua and Robinson. They're the guys that you don't need to roster. 12 points for Bojan Bogdanovic, still rostered in an insane percentage of 12-team leagues. I would just hope that those blokes who are holding him are eliminated because it makes no sense to have him on your roster in a team that is actually fully competing. Today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar that you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April the 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar that you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That is right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to the IRA, with their IRA, with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of the first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA is available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC is a registered broker-dealer. Okay, that will bring us into the third game of the day. We're talking the Atlanta Hawks. We're talking the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks keep on rolling. 109-95, the final score here for Atlanta. Better game from Bogdanovic, who struggled in the last one. 36 minutes, 17-7 with 3 threes, while we got Jalen Johnson just not hitting any shots. But encouragingly, he played 36 minutes, and this is on the second half of a back-to-back. 6 points on 25% is brutal, but 16 rebounds and 4 assists somewhat makes up for it. I was very encouraged by what we saw from Kobe Buffkin, just a name to keep in your memory bank in case there is a Trae Young / DeJounte Murray trade. 9 points in 13 minutes. Speaking of DeJounte, he wanted to, he's seen many times he's had these games where he's had the same amount of points as shots. He went, I can actually do better than that. How about we go for fewer points than shots? 16 points on 17 shots, 5 rebounds and 4 assists. He's starting to pull back a little bit, where he was running as the second-ranked player for a period of time. He's 65th over the last 5 games. That was obviously an insane hot streak, and it has pulled back. Vic Krejci, 4, 2, and 3 in 15 minutes for him with the players, or everyone who's coming back is back. We don't need to be holding on to Krejci. Well, DeAndre Hunter, I knew it. I told you this. Maybe I didn't. I think I did. What I said about DeAndre Hunter was going to have in this game 13 points on 30% shooting or something very similar. Well, he had 13 points on 30% shooting with 2 threes. He did somehow scrounge out a steal, but this is DeAndre Hunter, the worst fantasy player who gets a lot of minutes almost in the entire NBA. But you have to hold because he plays 30 minutes and he plays on the low volumes. But as soon as this low volume period for the Hawks is over Saturday, I would have the most pleasure in the world jacking this bloke off. Maybe he'd have a little bit out of it as well, but he can absolutely get out of your roster. Garrison Matthews had 14 points in 15 minutes for the Mavs. PJ Washington. Oh no. Because he had 19 and 8. He hit 5 threes. He had 3 assists. He had 2 steals and a block. And I saw a Mavs reporter saying he's hit 44% of his threes over the last 6 games. And if I know PJ Washington, and I don't, but I sort of do, but if I know PJ Washington, that means we are going to get one of the more brutal streaks you will ever see coming. I don't know if it's next game. It might be, but we are going to get a run of 10 points on 20% shooting with 3 rebounds for 3 straight games, making DeAndre Hunter look productive. It's going to be ugly, unless he has turned a corner. But given how good he has been, he's not a top 100 player over the last 2 weeks, just going to show that, yeah, there's still some issues with what he does fantasy-wise. Doncic had 25, 12, and 8, 2 steals, a block, 6 dribbles. Every time you watch Doncic play, you look at these numbers, you go, these are ridiculous. And then you also watch him and go, bro's hurt. What is going on? He looks wrecked every game. There's always something. He's rubbing his thigh, his ankle, he's limping. Maybe he's just one of those blokes who's always got something going on, but he does not look right. But we still get the numbers. Unfortunately, he shot 32%. Irving had 26, 5, and 1, while Derek Jones, 29 minutes, 14 points. Triple one. I'm solidly ignoring it. Dan Gafford also, you know the Dan Gafford story. You know the frustrations of Dan Gafford. He's 134th over his last 5 games. He played only 23 minutes in this one with 4 personal fouls, with Derek Lively out. He had 6 and 3. At least he chipped in 2 blocks. But that little run that he had where he looked to be the best player in the world is not indicative of who Daniel Gafford is. We do like him from a fantasy perspective, but even that was absolute insanity stuff. And now he's settling in to be Daniel Gafford. Tim Hardaway, 8 points, 21 minutes. Cool. Don't know even why I mentioned it, to be honest, because he is almost completely irrelevant. Almost. The next game of the day, this basically seals the Western Conference playoff race, play-in race. Not the seedings, but the 10 teams. Because Golden State smacked Houston. We knew that Houston was on this huge run. We said, hey, they're playing some trash teams, and they are taking care of business. But we'll see what happens when they play good ones. And what happens is that they were bad. And they were bad again. Doesn't mean that this has been a lost season for Houston or anything along those lines, but it also puts a lot of stuff into perspective. 133 Golden State, 110 Houston. This, again, I think just is going to rule Houston out. I believe they're 4 games back with 6 games to go in the season. It would take an epic meltdown and another hot streak from Houston to push Golden State out and make the play-in, and I just don't really see there's any way that's going to happen, to be honest, because the Warriors have games coming up again. Or let's say the Rockets' schedule. They've got Utah and Portland on that schedule. Cool. So there's a couple of wins, but Miami, Dallas, Orlando, and the Clippers. That's rough. So let's say they get 2. Maybe they get 4 out of that. But the Warriors play Utah, the Warriors play Portland, and the Warriors play Utah again. So yeah, it's done. So I don't know what that means. I don't know. Ime Udoka's not someone to me that's going to pack in the towel and just going to change all the rotations up or anything like that. But it is worth noting that is where we sit. For Golden State, Really, really good game from Steph. Shot 64%, 9 of 9 from the line, 29, 6 and 6. Fantastic performance. Clay was also great, 29 with 7 triples. And my man, Trayce Jackson-Davis, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a block. Big numbers, big production, absolute must-roster player. And post-game, Steve Kerr said this. He said, or should I paraphrase or should I quote? Let's quote, and then we'll do a paraphrase after that, if I can go and find it. This isn't the actual quote, but it's from a reporter. Steve Kerr said it's going to be difficult for him to go away from the Draymond, Jackson-Davis starting front court, even when Kuminga returns. So for me to paraphrase that, that means that, well, we're going to leave Draymond and Jackson-Davis starting, Kuminga coming off the bench for the foreseeable future, meaning probably 0 games, because Kerr has literally done this 2 to 3 times already this season. Now, and then he said that, and then at the end, he gave it a little out. He said, actually, Andrew Wiggins, though, sprained his ankle and didn't play the fourth quarter. So maybe not. Maybe Kuminga replaces Wiggins. So cool. Thanks, Stephen. And then you'll see Kuminga step in for Wiggins, and then Kuminga will play well. Then Jackson-Davis will move to the bench in the next game. This is my prediction. All right? We will find out, but this is the biggest foreseeable future legend in the league. Maybe pockets ham, but we're close. Regardless, you're rostering Jackson-Davis. Andy Wiggins had that ankle sprain, as we said, 10 and 5 in 23 minutes. You hold just because they play 2 more games in the next 3 days, but otherwise, no. Podziemski, 4 points in 24 minutes. Chris Paul, 8, 2 and 3. These are the guys that we suggested to drop, along with Clay, obviously, and Clay went off. But just the game-to-game reliability of these players is very tough to be there. Like you obviously like on the low-volume days, but otherwise not really. And we got 24 minutes out of Moses Moody. I'm not sure how many minutes Moody is going to get when Kuminga returns. We'll find out if he gets any at all for the Rockets. Van Vliet has had a really strong run here, top 20 over the last 2 weeks, 10, 4, and 9 with 5 steals. His blocks have dried up. I don't know if they're changing the way they're scoring those, but remember he was like getting no steals and all blocks, and now it's all steals for him. While Jabari Smith had 24 and 3 with 4 triples. The Jalen Green Mirage season may be over. 30 minutes, 13 points, 33%. The 7 assists are nice, but I'm glad that we don't have to head into next season and say, well, actually, Jalen Green over the final 4 weeks was a top 5 player, so maybe we need to look at where he's doing, because now he's cooled off and we go, yeah, nice, hot streak, so maybe we don't need to react too much. We'll see. Amen Thompson played 30 minutes. He had 8 and 4. He did have a locker room trip towards the end, so we'll see. He was on the injury report heading into this game with a finger issue. This is a little sacrilegious, maybe. I love Amen Thompson, you know this. We are on the verge of that is not rosterable. Not rosterable, but not must roster. 127th over the last 2 weeks, lower minutes, injury in the locker room. If we get any word that Amen is not playing tomorrow and he sits on your bench, you drop him for someone that plays on Saturday. I feel okay about that, honestly, with Cam Whitmore back. Now, Whitmore did his thing. He went bananas. Big shooting numbers, big usage. He does nothing else, but he does that. 17 points, 1 triple, 4 rebounds, 23 minutes. Well, Brooks had 8 points on 9 shots. Cool, good for you. And Landale had 8 and 6, the big jockster. Not much else going on with that team. That was a very, very comfortable victory for the Warriors to basically seal themselves into the play-in. Now, we go on to the last game of the day, the Denver Nuggets and the LA Clippers. Pretty close game in the end. There was a lineup change in this one. Kawhi Leonard was out, but they didn't go with Norman Powell. They went with PJ Tucker in that starting lineup. They can also perhaps go to an Amir Coffey in that position as well. So just watch, I guess, for some change-ups over the next coming games that Kawhi is going to be sidelined. We know he's out for tomorrow, and he's probably out Sunday as well, would be my guess. The Clippers win it, 102-100, the final score. Jokic put up huge numbers. Again, he always seems to put up huge numbers. 40 minutes, 36 points, 17 rebounds, 10 assists for Jokic. He was great. In this one, couldn't get it over the line, though. Well, KCP, the roller coaster that is KCP, continued 16 and 4, 4 triples, a steal, and a block. Great game. Last game was terrible. One before was great. One before was terrible. Michael Ponder had 14 and 9, while Aaron Gordon had 18, 6 and 7, 2 blocks. Very, very bad from the free throw line, which hurts quite a bit. I still know Jamal Murray. I don't know whether Murray is going to be back for their game on Saturday. It sounds like he's not far away from returning, and I don't think they're stressing it that he's not there, but it doesn't mean that Reggie Jackson's an ad. I guess he sort of is, because they play on Saturday when nobody else really does, but 7 points in 22 minutes doesn't cut it. The guy that got the minutes was Christian Brown. 34 minutes for Brown. 7 points, though. 8 rebounds, 33%. He had a steal, which is okay. I'm not interested in adding him in most spots, but again, If someone's playing 30 minutes on Saturday with so few games on, he's at least got to be under somewhat of consideration. Peyton Watson had been playing really well. He delivered absolutely nothing. 2 points and 2 rebounds here for him, but there's not a lot going on with that Nuggets team. For the Clippers, PJ Tucker only 17 minutes and went scoreless. We're obviously not caring about him for fantasy. While Norman Powell got 35 minutes coming off the bench. Now, I won't say that Norman Powell did a huge amount there. 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists and a steal. He's not great, but the minutes are strong. The shooting was bad. You just expect a little bit more. And you can get that more. Like, if you want the points and threes, Powell is going to be an option here for you. Big game from Zubats, 34 minutes, 14 and 15. Big minutes, big rebound numbers, while George had 28, 4 and 2 with 3 steals. And while James Harden shot horribly, 6 of 23 is terrible, he did end up with 20 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists and a steal. And one of the issues with Harden this season has been the lack of attempts. But he got him up here. 23 attempts is huge. So you hope that sometimes the shot goes in a little bit more. Terrence Mann did absolutely nothing, but the guy that did step up again, and we've seen this a couple of times with Kawhi out, that Westbrook goes from 18 minutes to 24 minutes, and he got 24 again. 12, 6, and 5, steal, block. If you want to stream Russ in, those minutes are enough to do it. 18 is not, 24 is. So if you want to consider Westbrook, consider him. We got the backup minutes going to Mason Plumlee in this one for center, 2 points and 2 rebounds. No Daniel Tice minutes, and we got no BJ, which unfortunately is something that we might just have to get used to. Last game, we did get some BJ Boston in that one, but not in this one. I wish they would give him more minutes, but it doesn't look like that my BJ wishes are going to come true. We're going to talk about the waiver. Not the waiver. We're going to start with the monstrous line of the night. Why wouldn't he? The monstrous line of the night, the best performance of the day. Well, this one goes to Tyrese Maxey, 37 points, 9 rebounds, and 11 assists. Cool. Good work. Returning first game back with Embiid. The waiver wire line of the night. The best performance of a guy who is widely available. And thankfully, this guy does play tomorrow. Always when I see his picture, it makes me laugh. I don't know why. Haywood Highsmith. 12 points, 9 rebounds, 4 steals and a block. He's shooting the lights out. He's getting steals every second game. Tyler Hero. Now, I didn't mention this earlier because the news didn't break till later on. But Shams are reporting that Tyler Hero could return tomorrow. Heat beat reporters are saying that, yeah, he's on the trip. They said that maybe there's light at the end of the tunnel and he's returning. But Shams was like, yeah, no, Friday, maybe it's happening here with Hero. The reason I bring up Tyler Hero now is because Haywood Highsmith's been getting minutes. Right? That's cool. Somebody has to lose out for Hero to play 30 minutes here. In the past, Highsmith has been on the chopping block, but he's been better than Caleb Martin. He's been better than Duncan Robertson. He's been better than Jaime Jaquez. So how do they distribute these minutes? What happens to Jovic? Like, those 30 minutes of Hero have to come from somebody. And I don't know whether they all come from Highsmith. They almost definitely don't. But, like, does he lose 4? Does Martin lose 5? Jaquez lose 4? Robinson lose 5? Like, how do they distribute these minutes? Because that is going to be an impact. But Highsmith is playing well. Just watch to see what impact we might get from old mate Tyler Hero, who looks like he might be returning. The young gun of the night, the best first or second year player of the day in the NBA. We are headed here to Golden State. It can't be anyone else. It's Trayce Jackson-Davis. 20 points, 5 rebounds, 1 block. He's going to be starting for the foreseeable future, which is probably one more game. But you got to roster him whether he's starting or he's coming off the bench. Doesn't matter either way. What about the dud of the night? This one is also very, very obvious because this man stinks. He is doing absolutely nothing and he is very much out of favor with self-branded hat legend Nick Nurse, and that is Budrick Hield. Shavano had 2 points. He missed all 6 of his shots and he offers absolutely nothing else. And you should not be rostering him except for the fact that they play on Saturday and who knows who's going to be in and out. So maybe I would hold for that. But bloody hell, he is giving us absolutely nothing at the moment, Bud. Who are the top 6 players of the day? Let's go through that. We already know the number 1 player was Tyrese Maxey. Not hard to figure out that number 2 was triple-double legend Big Chungus Nikola Jokic. Number 3 was Jalen Brunson. De'Aaron Fox at 4. Josh Hart at 5. And Luka Doncic comes in at number 6. Your top 6 guys rostered under 50%. Number 1 is Haywood Highsmith. Then it's Kevin Love. Then we go to Derek Jones, Kyle Lowry, Jaime Jaquez, and Maxi Kleber. Not a lot there that I really am super interested in terms of streaming the value in for those guys. Nothing super exciting. Just you're always looking to sort of plug the gaps and fill the holes on your roster at this stage. And the last one, we're looking at the Yahoo Points League guys, top 6. Tyrese Maxey, Nikola Jokic, Jalen the Burner Brunson, De'Aaron Fox, Josh Hart, and Luka Doncic. And that brings us to the end of the recap show for Thursday. getting towards the end of week 23 in the NBA. And if you are here and you are still double banging like a legend, thumb it up, subscribe if you haven't, ring the bell if you haven't, and then I'll say goodbye. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.